Amnesia Machine for Pigs has finally gotten some gameplay footage released. Time to find out. I'm gonna take all this footage off of PewDiePie because right now, even though people tell me that multiple YouTubers have uploaded gameplay footage, I've only been able to find this one. But if I'm missing anything, somebody please comment and I'll be sure to look at other videos. Anyway though, time to get started. First off, I can gather one thing that definitely answers some questions about the games. Oswald is a fan of art. Or whatever that is. Seriously, what's up with the pictures in this house? Number 2, I'm a little skeptical about this game now. I was very excited, but from what I've seen so far, it definitely relies on a lot of jump scares than it does anything else.
Is it scratches? Grizzly, that was horrible! Hold me, Grizzly!
But maybe that's just me. I haven't seen much because all I've seen really is about 2 to 3 minutes of gameplay, and a lot of it is jump scares. There's no way that someone can squeeze into a montage some ambiance or some sort of psychological horror scare, so I highly doubt that the game's going to consist of jump scares entirely, but I just don't really want to be proven wrong. This definitely does seem to share a similar atmosphere that Amnesia: The Dark Descent had, didn't it? Specifically this scene right here. Anybody else get reminded to the intro of Amnesia from this? Or is that just me? I like this part a lot here. Watch as he slowly steps towards the piano and then this happens.
Hello? Who's playing that piano? No one is playing! No one is playing!
Now, remember when they said that in the beginning Oswald wakes up and a machine begins to roar to life? Is this what they meant? If so, that's kinda cool. I really like that whatever that is. That sound cue, it works so well here. It definitely does sound like a machine starting to life, to me at least. But if it's not, and it's just a pointless jump scare, that kinda disappoints me and does lower my hopes a little bit. But I'm gonna be real optimistic here. Maybe they're onto something. Okay, so as we see him going down into the machine, we can hear someone talking. Is this where the new civilians come in? I kinda hope so, but I'm also a little skeptical because what exactly is this supposed to represent? I don't think that Oswald would keep a human being in a crate, unless Decim's ideas were correct. Oh, that's creepy. The most logical assumption I could gather is that this is some type of flashback. Doesn't that make at least a little sense? If it's just something to kind of creep us out, that's another pointless scare. But just, honestly, this definitely seems like it's Oswald remembering somebody telling him something. Now, I want to say that this is Swedish, but I could barely make out what the guy was saying. I can usually recognize Spanish, but I'm going to go ahead and go into the assumption that that's what he's speaking here. Because he did go on a trip to Mexico. So, could somebody from Mexico be telling him this? They don't really sound like they have a Mexican accent, but maybe it's someone British speaking Spanish? Oh, that's weird. Anyway, from what I've seen so far with the machine, I'm either really pleased or really disappointed. I want to believe that this is just a tad bit of a glimpse into what the machine is really gonna look like. Honestly though, this looks more like some sort of manufacturing plant or something. Look, you got the coal, you've got tools, you've got all sorts of stuff. So maybe this is just where a lot of the things that hold the machine together really help to process it comes in. You know, like the coal helps to build the fire and all that. I don't know, just another logical assumption. Also, this is where we get introduced to the pig monsters. They look very nice, and I will not lie, they actually are a little terrifying. I'm kind of going under the impression, though, that there are more monsters to be found in the game, but maybe that's just me. Honestly, though, I am kind of pleased with how they turned out. A lot of people have contacted me saying that this is a pig-human hybrid. Though I appreciate the comments a lot, we have no real confirmation about this, or do we? I don't know. I just have only seen this one clip here. But honestly, they look like something out of another video game. Or is that just me? Another thing, we finally get the pig church scene. To some, this may not look like much, but somebody actually gave me a very interesting idea as to what this scene is supposed to represent. And, you know what, this definitely does look like it's supposed to be a metaphor for something, so that's a good assumption. They told me that this is supposed to be some type of, well, metaphor for sins and being cleansed of them, and it's a pig on a cross, and Oswald is supposed to be the guy who made the machine, right? So that is a very logical assumption, and I do appreciate it. I would like a little more insight on this, though, before I say anything official. Next up, observe his reaction to the pigs chasing him.
I'm sorry! I'm so sorry! I am very sorry! I'm sorry! You didn't leave me alone! Please, please!
Now, some could say that this is just Felix being himself, but I like to think of it this way. Aren't we under the impression that Oswald is the creator of the machine? So maybe Felix was still under the assumption, or maybe he had already found this out when they were chasing him, he was begging for forgiveness. Now this is just the first hour of the game, and it's said to be 5 to 6 hours long. And if he's already begging for his life, then that's pretty well done. Very good, Chinese Room, very good. Anyway, moving on. We've also gotten confirmation that we'll be able to buy a soundtrack of the game. Another thing is that this was originally intended to be like a DLC or Justine, but when they found out the potential for the story they had, they made it a full-fledged sequel. I think this can definitely give us some confirmations that this is going to be something to be treasured. I mean, really, let's look at this for just a brief second. A lot of people are concerned that this is going to be, the sequel's never as good as the original. And honestly, I don't think there's many games out there that can even come close to matching the ambiance that Amnesia had. But I like to go into the assumption that this will get it pretty right. It definitely has that frictional games feel, at least a little bit of it. Next up, no custom stories. I was a little depressed to find this out, but the more and more I thought about it, the more I realized something pretty cool. I remember reading somewhere that they said that they wanted to push the HPL2 engine to its limits, to see what it's really capable of. I know it's pretty hard to make custom stories because I've actually tried before, but maybe if we gave it our all and got a bunch of good people together, I mean, I've seen people do some pretty crazy things with the Amnesia engine before, maybe we could do something just like Amnesia Machine for Pigs. I'd definitely like one day to at least give it a shot, to see what the Amnesia engine can really do, to make a really interesting game here. Maybe no custom stories isn't a bad thing, because we've had the tools to make something like this all along, we've just never noticed it. For one thing, the civilians. Perhaps they're going to use the techniques they use to make the monsters, except you're not going to lose sanity and they're not going to attack you. I've seen something to that technology before. If you're depressed about the no custom stories thing, try to take comfort in what I'm telling you here. This is definitely something interesting. From what I've seen so far, this whole game is pretty much going to be one big custom story. Except professionally made and we have to pay for it. But hey, maybe that's a good thing. But hey, maybe that's a good thing. We know very little about this. So, let's give it the benefit of the doubt, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very excited to see what Amnesia Machine for Pigs has to offer us. There's a lot more I could talk about, and I'm pretty sure I've forgotten a few details, but this is all I'm willing to talk about right now. I'll definitely go back to the Amnesia logs once I decide which YouTuber I want to use for them, and I'll probably make a video about that pretty soon, and there's no doubt that I'm going to be making 1 or 2 more Amnesia Machine for Pigs videos before the game comes out. So, either way, I'm Joshua, thanks for watching, and God bless.